Hey, what's up, guys? I know I haven't made a video in like a couple months, but that's just because I started a new job. I don't know if I uploaded and told y'all about that, but yeah, I haven't been here because I started a new job as a lube tech up at one of the dealerships in my area, and uh, to be honest, it's not my thing. That's like pretty much the whole reason why I'm making this video is because I'm like really at this point where I like this job kind of like there's things I like about it and then there's things that I don't like about it. I guess I'll start with some of the things I like about it would be it is fun working with my hands. The days do go by pretty fast. We're typically pretty busy, and there's just a flow that's there, which I do like. Pay isn't bad. It's not like great, but it's not the worst. That's another reason why I'm kind of iffy on staying here because, well, I can get into all that in a minute, but pay isn't bad. Day goes by fast. People I work with are pretty friendly people. I mean, one of the guys that I work with, he's really touchy, and so I got to be like careful with what I do around him, what I say around him, that kind of stuff. And that's kind of frustrating to work around, but for the most part, he's a pretty chill guy. He's a pretty funny guy, actually. I can tell he like hides a lot of his like anger and frustrations behind like humor. He's just one of those kinds of people, but uh yeah, he's all right. Some of the things that I don't like working there though is, one, I have a lot of anxiety from driving people's cars. I like driving cars, I like messing with them, I like working on them, but when I have to drive another person's cars, like a customer's car, I get this anxiety and it's so bad. I mean, I've had to deal with anxiety before. Sorry, but it's never been to the point that it is now, to where I'm waking up in the morning and I'm like feeling like I'm gonna get sick. Like the last like 4 days, I've woke up in the morning and I've just felt like I'm gonna throw up just because I'm so anxious to go to work, and I keep on talking to some of the people that I work with about it, like, yo, how do I get over this anxiety? What do I do about this, XYZ, whatever? And they all just say that it'll go away with time and that you just keep on doing what you got to do, and over time you'll be less stressed and you'll be less frustrated and you'll have more confidence in what you're doing. But I've been at this job for about 3 months now, and I know that's not like a super long time, but I feel like it should be enough time where these like jitters that I'm getting and this anxiety that I'm getting should be going away. At least that's what I'm thinking. I don't know. I could be totally wrong, but I don't know. It's just that's the thing. Another bad thing is that it's fucking like very monotonous. I'm a lube tech, so all I'm doing really is oil changes and tire rotations. And that's all I'm doing all day. Oil changes, tire rotations, Every now and then we'll get like patch a flat or like do a recall, but I can't do the recalls yet cuz I'm not far enough in the training, And I've been doing some of the training here and there, like I've been shooting to try and do like 30 minutes to an hour a night, but it just takes so long to get through it all, And as I'm doing the training and as I'm working here more and more, I'm kind of just thinking like, is this really what I want to do for the rest of my life? Like, money aside, throw that to the side, Is this really what I want to be doing for the rest of my life, Because I'm going to be working for another 40, 50 years, something like that. Do I want to be working on cars, on other people's cars, doing oil changes, tire rotations, Eventually I'll get up to like transmission stuff because I know that a lot of the mainline techs, they do simple transmission stuff, like replacing gaskets and whatnot. You know, I could get into there. I could go up to like brakes and stuff like that. But the thing is like, do I really want to invest all these hours, all these days, all these months, all these years into this profession, into this skill that I really don't enjoy that much, you know? So that's kind of where I'm at thought-wise at the moment with all of this. And I mean, it's been bad. Like, today's Friday. I'm supposed to be at work right now, but I just called out. You know, I called out yesterday too, because genuinely, I do think I do have some kind of bug going on. But I mean, I've just been waking up and feeling so shitty and so anxious and so worried that, you know, I don't even want to get out of the fucking bed. You know, I just want to lay in bed and just stay there all day, you know. And if I'm, you know, like, I don't want to live like that. I don't want to do that, you know. And I know on my other videos I was like complaining, oh, you know, because I started this channel before I even had this job, and I was so up and on about like, oh, I need a job, I need to get a job, I need to start working. And you know, I have had jobs before, but nothing like really full time like how this one is. And I don't know, it's just not my thing, you know. The time that I'm at work, so I'm at work for about 9 hours a day, and then an extra hour to drive back to and from work, you know. So I'm gone for about 10 hours, you know. And that leads to another point. I've got a dog at home, and I know that he's a dog, he can do his own thing, but he's my dog, he's like my best friend, you know. And I feel like I'm neglecting him low-key, because right now it's the middle, you know, it's like the end of winter right now, and so it is starting to stay lighter later in the day. But like, I come home from work and it's black, it's like pitch black outside, you know, you can't see anything. And I could take my dog on a walk, you know, in the pitch black of night, but I don't really want to. One, because it's freezing fucking cold. Two, my legs are dead, my whole body is dead when I get home from work. And that is only because we're standing 24/7. I know, big whoop. But after a little bit of time, it does kind of start to hit your knees and your ankles and stuff like that. But I've also been starting to go to the gym a little bit more, you know. I've started getting back on my schedule and my routine and all that. And for one, I feel much better going back to the gym. You know, my body feels better, my head is clearer, I'm able to focus on stuff longer, and I'm able to actually, like, what is it, think through the entire process before I do it and actually be able to visualize it. But my body is dead, you know. I'm super tired all the time, my legs hurt, my back hurts, my chest hurts, my arms hurt, blah blah blah, whine, all that shit, you know. But I'm just kind of like at this point where there are things that I enjoy in life, and there are things that I want to do. Like, I do enjoy working on cars. Do I want to do this for the rest of my life as a job? No. I already know that. I know that I do not want to do this for the rest of my life. And I guess that's going to get into like the next segment of this video. Holy shit, my hands are dirty. But that the next segment is what I'm kind of thinking about doing. And this is where, if anyone does see this, I want some like clarification or like, I guess, validation for my choices, because I'm a human being, and you know, it's just how we work. We need to be validated sometimes. But one of my ideas that I've been having is trying to get more into like doing like the art stuff, you know. I've always been, since I was like a kid, you know, I've been very interested in art, you know, not just like drawing or painting, but like I'm really into like film, really into movies, I'm really into like photography, that kind of stuff. But more of what I'm thinking of trying to get into is just like what everyone says is like tattoos, you know. I know a couple people that do tattoos. I used to work with a guy that is now doing tattoos like as his main job, as his living. And I remember when I was working with him, he was a busboy for a restaurant or a bar that I used to work at. And every time he'd be like, every time we had like downtime, he'd be at that little table that we had, and he'd just be drawing. he'd be sketching shit, he'd be drawing stuff, and he had an iPad, and he'd bring that in sometimes when he was doing like his actual tattoos, or like trying to make like a stencil or something. And you know, I could see myself doing that. You know, I could see myself every day doing that, drawing, making designs, making art, taking people's designs and taking other people's art and adding my own little tweaks to them, and then eventually putting it onto someone's skin, you know. But like with all things that I'm trying to do, I'm pretty much brand new at it. I mean, like I said, I've been interested in the arts since I was like a young kid, and so throughout like middle school and early high school, I did draw a lot, and so I do have that like foundation of art. And in college, my first year of community college, I took a couple of art classes. I took a drawing class, and then I took like a figure class, and then I've also taken like an anatomy class, like a real anatomy class, and I did very well in that. So I think based off of like the time that I was putting into actually drawing and refining my skills, to taking that time off to, how do I want to explain this? I've learned a lot about art since I stopped drawing, you know. Because when I stopped drawing, it was high school, you know, I didn't know shit. You know, I was early high school, that was before I started messing around, and I didn't really know anything about anything in life in general, you know, not just art, but anything, you know. And so after high school and all that, I went to college, or community college, and I started taking those art classes. And after taking that first art class, it kind of like, okay, I want to do this a little bit more. And also I see like the way that I pick it up, you know, I have that muscle memory. I have to develop it some more, but I have that muscle memory, and I feel like I can develop it very fast again and start to actually get the process of making things that actually look good on paper, you know. But that's just I think that's my plan for right now, because I've been looking at videos, and I've been talking to my friends, and kind of been like just looking around and trying to get all the information that I can. And the lifestyle is really what I'm into. You know, you go in you go in, and it depending on what you are. Like if you're working in a shop, it's pretty much like you go in at like what, like 9 or 8 or whatever, you work till 4 or 5, and then you go home, right? You could do it like that. You could do like freelancing stuff, where like you become like an Instagram artist, I guess, and just post all your stuff on Instagram, and then be like, hey, I can do tattoos, just hit me up, kind of thing. Or I can do like I guess like apprenticeship is kind of not, it's not an apprenticeship, that would be more like the first one. I would say like you work for someone at a shop, but you don't necessarily need to be like clocking in, clocking out kind of thing. You can kind of pick and choose when you come in, come out. If you have a tattoo, if you have like a client that's waiting and you need to do them at like 3 o'clock, you go in at 3, you do their tattoo, you leave, you know. There's a lot of, I guess, flexibility in the industry that I'm trying to look into. But just like with anything, I need to have like a plan, and I need to make steps towards this. And I think today, or last night technically, was the first step, you know. I started drawing again. You know, I was looking for all my old sketchbooks, and I couldn't find any of my old sketchbooks. They're somewhere around, but I was looking for my old sketchbooks, couldn't find them. I found an old notebook, and I found my old pencils, so that was enough. I just went on ChatGPT, and I was like, hey, can you generate me some like American traditional flash pieces or whatever, that I can just practice, you know, learning the shapes, getting the visual part down, you know. Because for me, I don't know if it's like everybody when they draw, but when I draw, it's like, let's say I'm like looking at a dog, right? I see a dog straight on, you know, he's looking at me straight in the face, like a first person perspective kind of thing. What am I looking for? I'm looking for like the shapes, you know, like that, the eyes have a certain shape, the nose has a certain shape, the ears have certain shapes, you know. And once I get good enough, I'm going to be able to just see those shapes right off the bat, and I won't have to like study the image, you know. I'm going to always have to study the image, I know that, but you're going to be able to like just look at it and you're going to see those shapes right off the bat and just start that much faster, you know. And that's kind of the point that I want to get to, you know, just be able to draw anything just from shapes, you know. But so that's like the first step, I guess, like the first couple, like the first week or so. I don't have any money in my account right now. I get paid in a couple days, so I'm gonna have to wait on that and then get paid and then go buy some equipment, because what I want to do is I want to get a sketchbook. I want to get some new pencils. Not that the pencil, I mean, I might not get new pencils because the pencils I have, they work well and they're pretty nice. So I might not get any pencils. I do need to get some like pens to like, you know, do like fine lines and stuff like that. Get those, and then, you know, eventually, you know, fuck, I might just, you know, while I get all those in my cart, I might just buy like a tattoo gun, some ink, some needles, some fake skin, you know, because there's a very big difference in the mediums, you know, like the concepts are similar to drawing and tattooing, I'm learning, but using the actual gun, knowing the actual depth that you need to get into the skin, knowing how gentle you have to be, how firm you have to be, doing all that kind of stuff, it's a very different kind of thing than just doing a pencil, you know. Because like when I have a pencil, like I guess one of the big things that I'm kind of knowing is going to be a struggle for me with the actual tattoo gun, the needles, is going to be like shading and stuff, you know. I haven't really looked into shading on tattooing a whole lot yet, but I do know that it looks tough. It looks complicated. But when it comes to shading like with a pencil, I can do that all day, you know. That's pretty simple for me just because of the way I think, you know. You got your light source, this is where it's going to be bright, this is where it's going to be dark, kind of fill in the blanks from there. Doesn't have to be perfect, it just has to be good looking. It has to make sense to the eye, you know. It doesn't have to be perfect, but it has to make sense to the viewer. But yeah, that's, I mean, this is kind of a bit of a longer video, and I'm actually going to upload it this time. There's a couple videos that I've recorded where I just record them and then I don't upload them, but I'm going to record this one and see where it goes. I think I'm going to start posting on Instagram for tattoo stuff, like all my drawings and all that. One thing that I do need to work on is like my proportions and my symmetry, because I'm really good at like drawing the form, I guess that makes sense. I can draw the form, you can look at the picture and you'll know what it is, but the symmetry is off a little bit. Like I drew an hourglass last night, right? And I had the glass, like the actual sand area in the middle, and then I had the two spokes on the outside. This spoke on this side was like slanted just a little bit, and it made the whole thing look off. And so those are just some things that I'm gonna have to work on, and you know, the only way I can get better at it is just by doing it. So my goal for the next couple weeks, maybe months, is I've got a couple. One, draw every day. I'm gonna draw at least an hour every day just because I can, you know. I have that free will, you know. Number two, I'm gonna try and find another job. Like I mean, I feel really bad because my brother did help me get this job, but at the same time, it's like, dude, I can't envision myself doing this every day. I'm calling in sick when I'm not sick. I'm getting so much anxiety just waking up to go to work that it's causing me to not even get up at all and not do anything. You know, I don't like, yesterday I didn't eat anything. You know, I woke up, went downstairs, and I grabbed like 3 sodas and like 2 bags of chips, and that was like all I ate all day, except for at 9 o'clock I made like oven baked pizza, you know. And so I'm kind of like noticing that when I have these starts to my days, that I just feel so miserable and so scared, you know, because for me, that's what anxiety is. It's just fear, you know. It's fear that is burdened down, and I don't express the fear. I express it more in anger or annoyance, you know? And I don't want to do that. I hate doing that. You know, I hate feeling like an angry person. You know, I hate being upset. And ever since I started this job, I've just been upset. I've just been angry, and I haven't, you know, having a paycheck is nice, but having friends and family is nicer, I think, you know, and having friends and family that don't fucking hate your guts, that's like the key, you know. And I'm just seeing myself spiraling almost, you know. Not spiraling, but like, I don't know. I'm having such a hard time with this job. And, you know, when I'm there, I'm not happy. I put my earbuds in when I start, and they do not come out until I clock out. And all I listen to is horror stories and some music at the end of the day. And yeah, so goal 1, draw for an hour, at least an hour every day. Goal 2, get a new job, literally anywhere. Like, I'm thinking I might go to like O'Reilly's or AutoZone, like a parts store, because I have experience, and I know how to look up part numbers. I know how to find part numbers. I don't really know how to order parts or any of that crap, but, you know, I can find what you need and I can ring it up. So, thinking maybe I might try like AutoZone or O'Reilly's or something like that, but it's just something, you know. I might even go back into kitchens. I don't know. But goal 1, draw every day, at least an hour. Goal 2, find a new job. Goal 3, start making more content like this, you know. Start making more YouTube stuff, start posting on Instagram more, because I know that if I do want to do this tattoo thing, I got to make a name for myself, somewhat of a name, you know. I got to have exposure, you know. And yeah, that's pretty much where I'm at right now. Whoa. That's pretty much where I'm at right now. If you guys have any advice or want to say anything, just let me know. Down in the comments. I'll have my Instagram linked in the description, maybe. I don't know. But yeah, this is just a quick update. Not really quick, about 25 minutes. And it's just my plans, how I want my life to live, because I'm 21. I'm real young. I've got time. I think I was freaking out before because I wasn't realizing how much time I actually have. But now I kind of am realizing I got a little bit more time than I think. And, you know, I'm gonna really, really think this through. Not think this through, but do it the right way. I mean, yeah, I'm gonna think this through. I've already thought it through a little bit. But I'm gonna really take my time, do it the right way. I'm not gonna try and rush anything. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I hope y'all have a good day, good night. I hope y'all aren't hating your job like I am. And if you do hate your job, do something about it. I don't know. That's what I'm trying to do right now. You know, I'm trying to practice what I preach. I don't preach a lot, but when I do preach, I do practice. So yeah, that's about it. I will see y'all later. I'm gonna try and start doing daily uploads, probably just like this. Not a whole lot of stuff going into it. No video editing or any of that crap. Just raw, uncut. Just so y'all know, y'all can actually see what's really going on. Y'all ain't seeing what's really going on. Y'all are just hearing a 25-minute venting session, you know. But to be honest, there ain't a whole lot going on outside, you know. But yeah, I hope y'all have a good day, and I will see you later. Peace.